Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here doing my live reaction for Supernatural Season 15, Episode 6, Golden Time. It has been forever since I have actually seen the show, as you can tell. New background, new apartment. I just yesterday finally uploaded the very first live reaction, and I still have to wait. I'm probably still gonna have to wait till like the end of the season just to upload episodes 2 and 3 because I have to wait to get the footage. Because everywhere I look online, the quality is absolutely horrible. So, excuse me. So, it might take forever for those to come out. But finally watching the show, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm over a month behind. It's been 3 episodes already. The mid-season premiere is going to be this week for me at least. It's the 12th now, so I'm way behind. But we're going to get right into it. I'm excited to finally be back watching this show and actually kind of getting things moving. So that is not supposed to do that. Here we go. Okay, so I didn't put it in because I thought I was going to wait until after all this stuff was done. But she's thrown like 4 things on the ground now. That's 5. And it's just like, why does she keep smashing everything? They're all clear glasses too, which makes it even funnier to me because it's like empty. Huh. So that's the random first thing that's actually worth noting for the episode. Hmm. Okay. Even in death, Rowena takes people down. That's pretty cool. Probably all the stuff she was smashing on the ground was just poison after poison.
So I've been looking for signs of God or Lilith, and you've been in your room eating cereal?
And marathoning Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
Hi there.
So you were in hell?
I didn't...
You didn't make a deal. You were innocent.
Van.
You been down there this whole time?
The hellhound that killed me.
Chuck.
Dropped me there.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah. She escaped.
Still,
And,
Chuck could have done something.
doors open.
This isn't how I expected them to bring so many people back. It's like the second person, and it's like, yep, great person,
No sensitive.
super cool, and, you know,
No, I don't want. Of course.
screwed.
Dean,
Look at you.
Okay. So far, this episode's both interesting and just kind of upsetting. It's like the second person we've had come back. The second person to be like, you know, like I said, you know, it's a good person. They're sent to hell. I don't know, in Kevin's case, it was just super effed up. It was like, all right, guys, see you later, going to heaven. And then Chuck was kind of just like, instead, though. And then in this case, it's like she dies from a hellhound, and then she gets dragged to hell, which is an interesting idea, something they've never really brought up, like the mechanics of if something that can, you know, go to hell has hold of you, especially if it kills you, technically it kind of has your soul, it can drag you to hell. That's an interesting idea. And also it makes me wonder if a soul from hell can't go to heaven with what Sam mentioned, having, you know, been in hell and technically Dean as well, does that mean that they would never actually be able to go to heaven then? I mean, unless Chuck, which he obviously wouldn't do this, unless he kind of switched up the rules a little bit for them, they'd kind of just be trapped. So that's interesting, because that's something they've never really brought up before, and now it's just like, yeah, a soul that goes to hell can't go to heaven. And they definitely went. It wasn't just like, oh, we kind of visited hell and stuff like that. It's like they were in hell. Especially, you know, Dean actually went due to the hellhounds. And then Sam, of course, I mean, he was dropped straight in the cage. I'm sure they could find a workaround for Sam. But for Dean, it was kind of like the normal, legit way of things being done. Like, the hellhounds came. He literally made a deal and everything. And that was legit. So that's interesting, because I don't think they've ever talked about that. So we'll see if they actually talk about it more, kind of throughout the episode, because that changes some things. That's interesting. It's like going old school. Bobby with like the tape on the on the different phones and stuff. That's funny.
Hello, Cash. Sam's been trying to call you. I know.
I honestly thought he was gonna answer the phone saying what.
Right. Smart. Why would you? We can bring you back.
I wish I had a reason to be hopeful for that, but it's just no part of me thinks that it's going to be fortunate enough to work. It'd be really cool though if they actually brought someone back and then they like brought them back to life. But I don't think I have my hopes too high for that, unfortunately. So either they get attacked here. Okay, yeah, there it is. I was like, they're either getting attacked now or they're gonna follow them all the way to the bunker, which I figured they would not do that. But if anyone would get followed, it would be one of the Winchesters because it's like, oh, they're so famous, they got something cool, cool we can steal. So, okay. I was gonna say, so I mean that was one thing, but like the way he was reacting seemed similar. It seemed similar to the first woman, so I thought maybe she wasn't even on their side. But I guess that wasn't the case. It was just similar. Maybe it was the hex from Rowena's room or something like that. I don't know, but now things are definitely taking the turn that I expected. I was surprised that they waited until they came out, considering they had magic. I would have thought, they could just do something while they were there, but that's interesting. I'm also, I guess it's been a minute since we've had like the hex spells and stuff, so it's kind of surprising that it was in the car and that's what affected him. But I think at the same time, it like I said, it's been such a long time since I've seen anyone use like a hex bag in a while. So I guess it's always just connected to the person. Once they're close by, it's like kind of, it's a radius type of situation. But it's been a minute. It's been such a long time. This makes up for me being super wrong about the vampire deal because I was so sure that those were witches, but now the witches are coming into play. So we'll see what happens.
With the mine?
Mine?
Yeah, the old silver mine. The EPA shut it down in the 70s. Toxic runoff.
Easy place for monsters to hide.
No. But I can take you.
That's how people die.
Stay close.
That's how people die in every TV show ever. It's like, I won't tell you, but I'll totally show you. And then because that person has no skill in any way, shape, or form, and they're always up against something insane, especially considering the series, they get wiped out. And it's like, oh man, I totally saved your kid, and then you died.
Right?
But that probably won't happen, because
Is this your thing? Robbing dead people?
I hope it doesn't happen. Oh.
And she tried to sell my soul to a demon, and she turned my first crush into a water balloon.
Oh,
I popped him.
that's pretty effed up.
I think this mine may be a lair. And if it is, I don't want you to see what's inside.
But I know it. Mom?
Caleb!
That's epically convenient. And good for them. That's good.
You could go somewhere else. Start over again.
He's in an oddly dangerous position here. But I like this story. It's real messed up, but yeah. Like she's crazy. This is interesting. I like these two stories because I'm like, something bad is gonna happen, and I'm kind of just waiting now. It's like this has worked out so far, and then the other story is kind of like, Sam's kind of stuck.
Dead body to the lake. Believe your power will protect you. It won't protect you from me.
Okay, I thought he was gonna stab him like right there, and just kind of end it. I think that's the first time they've ever used an angel blade like that. Because typically, it's done on angels or demons, and it's just like, boom, hit them in the heart or, somewhere special, and then, they light up and they're gone. I think that's the first time they've ever used that, and it's like, it's used, like a normal life. Like, he just stabbed repeatedly through this body, and it made him bloody. It wasn't just like, oh, he hit, and then it's like a holy light comes out, or demonic light. I guess it depends on how you look at it. It was just blood. It was just, he just stabbed him. It was just like a murder. It was just like, huh, that's not what you normally see with the Angel Blade. And I feel like there's I don't know, something about that. It's interesting to see it in that way. It's like, oh, and there was no flash of light. It was just blood, and then he's dead. He killed the thing, and that was it. And that's what they always do. But it has a weird feeling because it's the Angel Blade, and of course because it's Cass, and he's in this weird position. So it's entertaining to watch, but it's also like, huh, it's weird. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not too concerned where it's like, Cass is going to be depressed or anything. If anything, he's already done that. We've been there, done that part. So that's definitely an interesting little thing. It's something random, but it's like, huh. You never really see the Angel Blade used in that way where it's not specifically an angel or a demon. It's one of the other tons of monsters in between. So I like that. I feel like that was done on purpose. To be like, especially the way they did it where he's just stabbing him. Because he really could have just stabbed him. Like, I thought he was just going to, boom, he knocks the gun. And even if there wasn't, the whole display of light, knock the gun out, stab him in the chest, and then it was over, and he could have just dropped to the ground. There still would have been blood, and it would have been like, oh, that's interesting. It wasn't, the flash of light like you think of. But the fact that they had it where he knocks him to the ground, and then he just repeatedly stabs him, it's like a different sort of feeling for just that character, for Cass in general. Considering where he is. If this was like when he was taken over by the Leviathans, that would be a little different. But this is just Cass. He's sad, he's alone, and then he just hacked up a djinn after kind of hitting him with some decent stuff.
Which killing bullets?
Ooh. I was thinking, I feel like at some point Dean has to show up. Like they've been gone for a minute. A long milk run, if you will. Oh, snap. I definitely thought he was going to shoot the mom who's doing the spell. Huh. This is an episode of first, because I'm sure we've seen people choke. I'm sure we've seen spirits choke other spirits before. But I don't know, because what was going to happen? I mean, would she go to the darkness if she was choked to death as a spirit? That would be interesting. It's a heck of an episode. We got Sam doing spells. We got evil witch siblings, and the youngest girl gets just shot and murdered. I mean, it's still a villain, so, I mean, I don't know if I want to go, like, murdered. You got Cass stabbing Jin, and he's just angry and pissed, and he gives him monologues and stuff and kills him off. That felt super fast. It went like straight to commercial already. But I like this episode. It's just weird. It just feels weird. It feels weird in the best way to me. It's just like, man, they're doing little stuff here and there. Like I said, I was kind of waiting for what was gonna happen, and now, I mean, they've solved everything. I mean, there could be more Jin, but it was like he killed the Jin. So Cass's side seemingly is done. He kind of saved the day. He killed the villain, and then they just killed all the witches off. So I don't know what they could do next. It feels like the other episode where it was like, oh, well, it seems like they kind of finished. It seems like it took a little bit longer, but I feel like I haven't been watching. I feel like I haven't seen the whole episode yet. I could be wrong, and it actually is towards the end. It just felt like a fast episode. I don't know, but I was like, I think they finished pretty fast, because I feel like Cass was only in like 5 scenes, and then it's like, boom, his stuff is solved, and also, the witches are dead too, so now it just moves on to the crystal element, and how that may or may not work. I feel like it won't, unfortunately, but oh, okay, I just figured it out. So everyone's dead. They're gonna use the spell to bring back the little girl, and the youngest girl, and then she'll get to live her life, and Eileen will be like, it's cool, and we'll figure something else out. Maybe she'll go do the crystal thing, and that's how they do it. They'll bring the witch back, and then Eileen will go to the crystal. That's my theory for the episode. We'll see what happens. That's very interesting. I knew he was weaker, but I wasn't expecting that. Something about this episode just felt so quick. Maybe it was because it was going back and forth. I don't know. And they don't have the girl, so I guess my theory was I guess it was wrong. That's actually really cool. I don't know what I was thinking with her getting in the water, and then it was just like, well, obviously she wouldn't affect the water because she's a spirit. That's actually super cool. Once again, it's super random first, but I think that one's actually really cool. Oh, okay. I'm glad it worked. But I was really, I mean, it's supernatural. I'm just like, I don't know. It's hard to be hopeful sometimes. that really sucks. That's super cool, though. It sucks that you can only do that once, but that's actually super cool. That's definitely like a minor victory that they clearly needed. Like, morale is super duper low. Losing people, they find out people who are supposed to go to heaven were sent to hell. Like, they needed like a tiny victory. They needed that one.
Because we're the guys who break the rules. But I can't do it without you. I can't. Just like I couldn't do it today without you. I need my brother.
I like that ending. That was a good ending. It's like we're gonna get to see them. I assume they're all gonna be back together in the next episode, which is nice. Cass realizes like I got to get back in the game. Sam and Dean are, I mean, not that they were really separated, but Dean was obviously down in the dumps. It was like, man, we thought we kind of dealt with him, and even though things sucked, he took off. We just kind of figured things out, and I was like, no, we're stuck here. He's potentially throwing their greatest hits at him. So it's nice. It was a nice ending. They definitely, like I said, they needed that win without a doubt because it's just been depressing for them. Cass is gone, and I'm still curious how that's going to play out because they still haven't had an actual scene where Dean is like, hey, I'm the specific reason, I'm the sole reason that Cass actually took off. They still haven't had that specific moment, so I don't know if that'll pop up in the next episode or when Cass eventually does come back. I don't know if that's even going to really be a topic where they kind of go through that, but this was a good episode. It was interesting kind of watching the two stories play out as they did, and it's like, all right, we needed to see Cass kind of go through this, this little rough patch, and he goes through, like I said, he had like a whole monologue where it was like he was pissed at that Jin, and then he just stabs him repeatedly when he could have, done a little stab, but he throws him to the ground and just hacks away at him. And also the healing thing, the scene there, I don't really know what to expect from that. That kind of has me worried. I knew he was weaker, but I don't think I remember that it was that bad. So I don't really know what to think about that. That one kind of caught me off guard because I was like, all right, sure, the beginning of the season where they're fighting all these demons jump into a bunch of corpses and stuff. It's like, of course, he's too weak to do that. That makes sense. There's a ton of them out there. He can't just smite through like dozens and dozens of bodies. I was like, all right, I can see that. But he had an insanely hard time just healing this kid's leg. And it wasn't like it was like the bone was sticking out or anything like that. I'm sure it was broken on the inside. It was clearly bruised, so I'm sure it was broken. But he had a really tough time with that. And I was like, not what I was expecting with Cass. I wasn't expecting his powers to be, kind of in such a weakened state. So that really shocked me. But I like this episode for sure. I like the way it was handled with the witches. It did not go as I expected. I thought for sure it was going to be like classic, this person obviously has it the worst out of these characters. And, of course, Sam talking with the youngest daughter and how mean her sister was and stuff like that. And it was just like, nah, they're just the bad guys and they just died. I thought for sure it was going to be, something. But, I mean, it also makes, I don't know why I unmuted that was dumb. But it makes sense. It just makes sense where it's like, yeah, realistically speaking, they're still just the villains. And it's just like, bye, they're dead and that's it. But for some reason, it's just like, man, it seemed a bit harsher. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's been so long since I've watched the show. And this just felt like a somber episode. Because it's like, it's Sam dealing with Rowena's death. And then Cass dealing with being alone and, separated from really from his family. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something about this episode, like the feelings in it, I was just like, man, I was constantly pessimistic. I was like, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. And the one thing I thought was going to work was actually the stuff with the daughter. I thought for sure that was going to be the classic, like, reversal where she has a change of heart. And it's like, all right, I'm going to, take off. And I didn't think it would be as happy. I figured that their mom might die and she would be the only one left alive. I wouldn't have been surprised by that. But I was shocked that she was shot and then that was it. And then Sam just ends up killing the mom. And then, they torch the body of the older sister. And it was just like, dang, they're just dead. And that's it. And I was just like, that little girl just had an effed up life. Her sister was a horrible human being. And then that was it. And she was shot and she was killed because she was going up against the good guys. And it's like, dang, that's just sad. I don't know. Something about this episode, it was just like, that's kind of depressing. I don't know. Maybe it's just been a minute. And this season is what. And of course, the way it started, it's like, oh, here's yet another character who totally should have been in heaven, and then they're in hell. So it's like, just from the start, it was like, man, it's just depressing. But really good episode. I don't know, for some reason it just makes me think. It's just one of those episodes where it's like, man, it was, kind of a side episode, a little bit kind of leading back into kind of the big game plan. But it was definitely a good episode. So I certainly enjoyed this one. Of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about it. Naturally, I have my review up. The review will be up before this ends up coming out, but definitely check that out if you haven't, or, if you're interested, at least I'd really appreciate it. But of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.